All right, this problem says find the equation of the hyperbola described. It says graph. It says the foci is at 2, 0 and negative 2, 0, and the asymptote line is at y equals negative x. So all I'm going to do is just graph these points, and this will give me a good idea of what we're looking at here. So 2, 0. So that's going to put me here. And then we also have negative 2, 0, which is here. And then we have an asymptote at y equals negative x. So, all right, so there goes our line. And that also means that since y equals negative x is one of our asymptotes, we also know that y equals x is. Because remember, it was negative b over a and positive b over a. So that's also going to be one of our asymptotes. So I'm going to graph that one now. Okay, so this tells me here, once I graph everything that I can so far, I realize that this is going to be a horizontal hyperbola, which means it's going to run this way and this way. But before I do all that, I'm going to figure out what the rest of my values are. So our C, which runs from the center out to one of the focus, is going to be 2. So that tells me right away that our C equals 2. And we also know that our asymptotes are going to be y equals b over ax. And we do realize that our b and a, when I divide them, have to give me 1 and negative 1 because of the original statement. So we also have b squared equals c squared minus a squared. And this down here, if I finish this equation out, this is going to be a equals b. And we know c is 2 here. So for this one, I'm going to get b squared equals, and I'm just going to write a 4 there, minus a squared. So since a equals b, I can just sub 1 in for the other one here. So for this one, I can just plug in for a squared, I can plug in a b there, so make it b squared. Okay, so this is going to be b squared equals 4 minus b squared, which this is going to be 2b squared equals 4. I divide by 2, I divide by 2. So b squared equals 2, which tells me b equals square root of 2. Okay, so then a is going to be the same thing. So a equals square root of 2. And we also know that since this is centered at 0, 0, that we get an x squared over a squared minus a y squared over b squared equals 1. And we also know that the y is negative because this is actually a horizontal asymptote, horizontal hyperbola, which opens left and right. So now we know what a is and we know what b is. So our equation then is going to be x squared over 2, because square root of 2 squared is going to be 2, minus y squared over 2 equals 1. So now there's our equation. That's our part A for this problem. So now all we need to do is graph, and we're good. So looking at the graph here, I know my A then is square root of 2, so that tells me I know my vertices. So my vertices are going to be square root of 2 away from the center, so I'm going to go to the right, square root of 2, which would be this way, and then square root of 2 to the left, and that's going to give me my other vertex. So that's what I'm going to graph now. And just remember before I graph this that square root of 2 is approximately 1.41. So there's our graph, and I put the vertices in there and I labeled them. And be careful, I know square root of 2 approximates to 1.41, but when you actually put the values in for the labels for the points, make sure you use negative square root of 2 and positive square root of 2 for those values, those x values of the vertices. So there's our complete graph. And then notice I labeled the asymptotes as well. So that's important and necessary for full credit when you're actually giving a graph as your answer.